So Sinn has done it again. Sinn is absolutely killing it this year. New fall releases. See the new models. Yes, please. Check it out. They've got basically 2 revamped models here for the fall. Just came out here at the beginning of September 2024. So we have a refresh of the Sinn 156, and we have a tegimented version of the 856. The 856 is not my favorite. It's it's a Flieger. It's great for what it is, but that's really not my style. But I'm really drawn to these new 156. There's a limited edition, and then there's a new permanent member of the catalog on both a bracelet and a strap. Pretty punchy on the prices. On the strap, you're coming in at $4,500 for the limited edition, which it looks like it's also on a strap, another $400 or so. Let's take a look here. Some styling here that's different in the special edition. Clearly, let's look at the pictures. Let's get a good look at these. Zoom in. All right, so I've noticed they're using the Sinn with the kind of location, the Sinn Frankfurt am Main, like that. They've got this big kind of stylized, modernist, kind of futuristic font happening here. That's the caliber, the SZ01 automatic. Some faux patina on the loom, on the hands, the numerals, the loom pip there on the bezel. This neat window here for the date. Interesting triangle shape here, and then running seconds probably here on the left. Let's take a look here in a minute at the specs. Forward. All right, so yeah, it's definitely on a strap, color matched, kind of linen tinted 2-stitch strap. Looks pretty thick and substantial. Of course, chronograph function. It's got the hour, minute, seconds hand, plus this is a minute hand that belongs to the chronograph function. Have to read about that here in a second. Detail there of that the date wheel, very nice. Loom, missing the 3 and the 9 to make room for larger subdials and date, but that's okay. Still very legible. Classic Sinn syringe style on the minute hand, but more of a Flieger style on the hour hand. Interesting. Very plain case back. It's already a very thick watch at over 15 millimeters, so I guess they didn't want to add any more for a display back or anything like that, which is kind of a shame with the chronograph. There's so much going on. It's nice to see the back. Let's take a look. Rest of the specs. 43 millimeters. That's a chunky boy. It's large. Again, about 15 and a half millimeters are tall. But you know what? For a tool watch, a chronograph, a very masculine looking sports watch, I kind of like the bigger sizes now. I just did order myself the boutique only blue Tudor chronograph. Which is in the same ballpark of size. It's around 42 millimeters. Should be coming in Friday. I'll post a review on that. But this is right in that same price range. Definitely big. But my Sinn 104, one of my favorite watches, is also over 40 millimeters, and it wears great on my 6.5-inch wrist. Not super heavy, 98 grams. That's not bad. 100 meters water resistance. That's great for a everyday kind of sports watch. Stainless steel, very matte finishing. It's very interesting, the finishing here on the bezel. It looks like the markers are kind of engraved in just slightly, but kind of a tool-tastic dark gray that complements the brushed of the stainless steel very, very nicely. Sapphire glass, of course, you can tell it has a little step to it. You see right there with the way you get a little bit of distortion right there on that stepped edge of the sapphire. Must be very nice. 2-year warranty. RGM will service it here in the US or Sinn in Europe. Scroll down here. All right, so the 156.1 ESZ-01 chronograph limited edition uses their Sinn SZ01 caliber, which I had to look up here on one of the caliber databases. The SC01 is based on the Valjoux 7750, which has been used for decades, workhorse, chronograph, mechanical, automatic caliber. It's in some of my vintage, neo-vintage Breitling chronomats. It's in my sort of vintage Breitling Navitimer. That's basically what Breitling used before they came out with the B01. Valjoux is based on the previous Lamania, so decades and decades of craftsmanship and history that goes into this caliber. They've basically modified it to give it a jumping 60-minute stopwatch hand, which is the kind of new feature here that you get with that hour totalizer. The one with the jet on it is the hour totalizer. So 300 pieces. Imagine these will sell out maybe a month or two. Probably not just a hot cake of a seller, but if you're interested in this here in fall of 2024, I wouldn't snooze on it. These special editions are just absolutely killing. I did a video on the special edition 903 with the light blue. Love that. Still kind of kicking myself I didn't find a way to buy one of those. So here we go with some specs. Let's kind of zoom in on this. So hour hand, minute hand. The crown comes out to 3 separate positions. Here you get the Kalsman window date display. We'll read about that here in a second. Chronograph seconds, chronograph hour, so that's an hour totalizer there in the bottom dial with the triangle hand. Running seconds here. And that minute, jumping chronograph minutes, is really interesting because it's giving you a full 60 minutes rather than typically what you'd see in a caliber like this, where you'd have a 30 minutes worth of total running on the chronograph. And in the subdial, that can be kind of tricky to read, especially for me without my glasses on. But with that jet hand, the minute jumping minutes hand, that must be really easy to read. I like that. That's a neat feature. So here we go. The Kalsman window date display, named after the inventor of the barometric altimeter, Paul Kalsman. Neat stuff. Look at that. Kalsman window on a cockpit altimeter allows pilots to adjust the altimeter to reflect the current barometric pressure at sea level. How about that? Love that. Detail. What a neat detail. Anthracite non-ratcheting captive safety bezel, tegimented steel rather than aluminum. Good times, so that's not going to scratch. Let's see here. Screw down case back, 44-hour power reserve. That sapphire is domed, obviously. Super luminova, so it's going to have a bright lume to it. My 104 just has fantastic lume. Comes with the case back tool. Oh, look at this. It does come with the H-Link stainless steel bracelet and the strap. Good times. That's really great. I love that they did that rather than having 2 separate ones. Just throw in both. Gives you so much versatility. 22 millimeter lug width. So yeah. So if you have some bigger straps for larger watches, you can swap these out. Looks like that's a drilled, kind of hard to see in that picture. It looks like a little thing there that might be a drilled lug hole. Kind of hard to tell, but I think that's what we're seeing there. So strap changes should be pretty straightforward. Okay, so that's the special edition. Let's go back here. Now, these are the 2 mainstays. This is the refreshed 156 that's going to stay in the catalog. New for 2024 here. So instead of the faux patina lume, you get the red accents on the second hand, the hour totalizer, and the jumping minute chronograph hand, which is nice. It fits the color scheme. I think I do prefer the Fotina here on the limited edition, just like with the 903 limited edition. They went with the kind of the yellowish faux patina there. Let's take a quicker look at some of these pictures. So very nicely applied. Almost looks like they're dipped in that red paint. And certainly that configuration, they really do add a nice pop of color. I imagine if you're not running the chronograph we would probably park that minute totalizer up at 12, and it would kind of just disappear against the seconds chronograph hand at the same time. Great detail. Matte black. Would love to see maybe an enamel black at some point. That standard modernist font. A little bit of a Bauhaus nod there in the detail of the 4 there on the hours and on the bezel. Very, very nicely designed. Nice little knurling around the outside of that bezel. Looks very angular. Not really a coin edge, but more angular than that. Really, really strong design. You can tell from the back that that bezel's not overhanging either. It's just kind of tucked in inside the profile of the case. Just going to help keep it from getting knocked around. I did look on eBay. The older current 156s are going for about half the price of these new ones. So if you can't afford one of the new ones, you could pick up the current generation, which has a day date. Here, this is, they have put military on here. This whole line is their military inspired chronograph. So 156B, several of these in the 2000-ish range. Here's, that's a 356, a little bit different. Here's one, 21680. So there are a few out there, if this kind of floats your boat. Reminds me, obviously, of the Fortis with the jet hand there. Fortis has several watches like this as well that are, really masculine, just really aviation and military inspired. So lots to choose from if you go looking at the used market here. If you can't quite swing one of these new models, I think the primary reason to be looking at these new models right now, of course, is that you only have basically one shot at this limited edition. So if you're a Sinn collector, military watch enthusiast, you've got the spare funds, or you can maybe sell a few things to make some room in your collection. Certainly one to consider. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you think, if you agree with me that Sinn is just absolutely knocking out of the park. If you think these should be a little bit smaller, thinner, what you would change, what you would be looking for in the future. Interested to hear your comments below. So please add your own comments. Please like the video. Really does help the channel. Please do subscribe if you haven't done so already. Have more news and new releases, my own watch reviews and my own watch designs coming up eventually. So for the time being, I guess we'll leave it there. God bless and have fun out there.